Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lizard Brains podcast. I'm your host, DJ Allison Drini. I'm joined by my co-host, Tom Gorman.
Hi, DJ.
Tom, how's it going?
I'm good. I'm in your house.
You're right next to me now.
We're doing the news, and tonight at 11. No.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Tom took a picture of kind of what this looks like, and it looks a little ridiculous.
Guys, this is a professional-ass podcast, though. Let me tell you that.
Yeah,
I'm going to come out of the gate with that.
yeah, definitely.
You would never know. No, I'm just kidding.
You would never know that the webcam that the live audience is watching on is just sitting on a cardboard box.
That's production.
That's for real.
I'm also so hot. I can't cool down. Guys, it's been too hot for too many days. You see me waving my little fan. Bridgestone fan.
Tom is a Bridgestone fan.
Yep. So if you see me waving the fan, I'm so sorry. I'm too hot.
Just for the record,
DJ's house is perfectly comfortable, by the way.
Just for the record, I have air conditioning.
It's not. It's a me thing. It's too hot. Hot.
I can turn it down a little bit more.
No,
I think
it's good.
Set at 70 right now.
I cannot wait this weekend. The forecast is 75 every day.
Yeah, that's hotter than my house right now. What is wrong with you?
I'm so excited for that. Anyway, all right, let's get rolling. How are you?
I'm good. What are we talking about, Tom?
Well, I can talk about my weekend first because I had a pretty fun weekend. I was, for the first time ever, although I've been on the Gridlife commentary team before, for the first time I was like, I hired, hey, can you come and do the production with us on the booth, in the booth on the broadcast? It was so fun.
I will say, you were extraordinary.
Oh, thanks.
It was good. Like, it was super good.
If anybody has negative feedback, I'm open to it. But I've basically been given like it starts to feel a little bit like everybody's just telling you good job because they want to, or because you're supposed to say good job,
Yeah.
you know. But I've had a couple specific people tell me good job in ways that was like that really means something. And everybody who said something in general, it means a lot. But I had a couple goals. Go ahead. What?
But you know, like if I actually had like constructive feedback for you, I would give it to you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm open to that in general. Other than like you didn't talk about me enough. Maybe don't. Every person who didn't get talked about enough. Maybe don't tell me.
The podcast was only mentioned 4 times that I caught,
And I never said it.
I know.
Kyle brought it up every time.
Thank
I
you,
was
Kyle.
like, do we pay you for this after? I don't know.
Yeah. I even heard that I was brought up once on the podcast or on the broadcast, and I'm like, that I am completely irrelevant to everything happening on screen right now.
Because we're influencers. We decided we're the influencers of influencers.
Yeah, we influence the influencers.
Why don't you tell me how that happened again?
Well, I don't want to.
There was a
blow
YouTube
anything
channel that reached
Yeah.
out and they said they want to have us maybe help with something.
Have a video about something that we've talked about on the podcast. And
Guys.
they're like a huge channel, so like that would be pretty huge in automotive terms. It's not like guys, Mr. fucking Beast didn't reach out.
Yet. But don't worry, people. We won't forget about you when we're huge.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. That was a dick thing to say. Okay, so I had a couple goals going into the weekend. I actually thought about this. Like, I'm going to be on this thing. The production is way higher value than like I did the first ever Gridlife stream back at Mid-Ohio in 19 when it was like the first weekend of GLTC and it was just me and Adam would come in and out sometimes. So like I've done it before, but I didn't really plan and I was like, I'm just going to do my best.
You did the Coda.
Did some, here and there. But this one specifically with Time Attack, I set some goals. Like I really want to try to put people in the car with the driver. I want to point out the things that make the car tick or make the driver stand out when you're watching the car trackside. Because I feel like that's something that I don't know how you can necessarily learn it, but that's something that I think I have a skill for from even way back in like watching video games. I was obsessed with watching replays third person and I wanted to see what it looked like, what I was doing. I wanted to be able to like connect the dots.
I do the same thing.
You do?
I literally
Okay.
did the same thing, yeah.
And I think a lot of people do. This is probably something that a lot of the people who listen do. But I wanted to like bring everybody with me into that. And I set some goals with like trying to maybe do a little bit more almost stream of consciousness during the laps and like talk about that. And then the races are just like, the races are what they are. I just always enjoy
you even
talking
do
about the
it like
races.
when working the course at an autocross, right? Like you like take
Oh, yeah.
note of the cars and like guys, to be honest, like when I'm on autocross, I got my phone on me. I'm like checking people's times as they go by. I'm like, oh, that looked really good. Like, where's that person? Oh yeah, they're winning. Like I'm looking at like, okay, yeah, that looked legit. And then you look and you're like, okay, that looked really thrashy, but maybe it was fast. And then you look and you're like, okay, yep, that's about where I expected them.
Yep.
And so
yeah, that was super fun. I was very happy with how that went. I was stutterier than I wanted to be, partially because I was learning time attackers, names and cars, connecting. I'll be completely honest. I'm not like the best at knowing who all those people are.
Yeah.
And then I also was really stuttery during rush because the cars are so small and the numbers are so small. Usually what I do is like I look for the number, I can cross-reference it to timing super fast, and then I can make it sound like I knew who that was the whole time.
Yeah.
It was so hard with those little cars. So I definitely sounded like a bit of an idiot with those to start off with. But luckily, they have like literally triple the sessions of everybody else. So they were on track so many times before we did the first race that I did kind of know who they were by the first race.
Dude, the rush races were pretty legit.
They were good. Guys, I'm a believer in rush now after this weekend.
I think you see like the drivers at the top of that are actually legit.
Yeah.
Like they are so good. And you just see it on display.
Yeah. And I know it's got a little bit of a different flavor than everything else in Gridlife, but like having that different sound come out, like it was actually kind of, I can't remember it feeling that impactful at previous events, but for this event, it was like impactful. There was like 50 of these bike motors like screaming across the start finish line to start the races.
I bet the race starts. Yeah, I bet the race starts pretty cool. Because through the microphone, like on my, like with my phone speakers, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like it sounded like it filled like the entire area with 11,000 RPM.
Yeah. It would almost be, I don't know how you would do this because it's not the point, but it would almost be better if it was just like 30 of the Slayers, you know, like if it was like when we did iRacing together, back in like COVID days, and it would be the Formula, what were the Skip Barber Formula cars, and like all the draft keeps everybody close. And it was 30 people just like packed, like 50 of them, especially. This is an interesting thing to actually talk about. When there were a couple cars that broke in race 2, so they started at the back of race 3, and then race 3 was sloppy because there were so many people coming through to the front. That like
it creates like a chaotic energy
that's not supposed to be there, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's something that you can learn if you're a driver that it's towards the front and you end up towards the back, being able to understand what kind of environment you're getting into. But also if you're a driver that's anywhere in the pack and you see like 3 of the cars from the front broke or ran out of gas or whatever, and then they're back at the back and they're coming through,
just understand it's going to be a little bit more of a chaotic.
I kind of wonder if that's like even something you could say to people on grid in club racing. That seems like a totally reasonable thing to, like, hey, by the way, you're going to have a couple of cars that are much faster potentially coming through. I don't know. I kind of only had that thought in real time while we were watching the race. Yeah. And it's happened in GLTC before too, when a couple cars go to the back and then all of a sudden everyone's charging to the front from the last 2 rows. And it's just like, everyone's kind of dodging grenades all the way through the field a little bit.
You know what it kind of reminds me of is on the highway when you're going 10 over. And everyone behind you is going also 10 over. But then somebody comes flying through at 15 over. Now, all of a sudden, you haven't been passed in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, because you didn't react to that car going 15 over, now you're being swarmed by cars in every direction because they tick their cruise control up like a couple mile per hour. So
Chicago I-90 coming from Indiana into downtown Chicago. That's literally what it's like. There's like 10% of the cars doing the speed limit, 5% of the cars doing under, 80% of the cars doing 10 over, and then there's like 10% also want to do like 170 miles an hour. It's chaos.
So I think maybe subconsciously people, they see all these, cars like driving through the pack, and then they're like, well, I'll just do that. And then that kind of creates like it's already a little bit chaotic because they had to deal with the lapped car that just disposed of them. And then they watch them disposing and disappearing. And it creates this sense of no pun intended, but a sense of rushing, they have to rush it. So that might create, instead of allowing the race to happen, it might create situations where they feel like they're hurried.
Yeah, for sure. But I also think there's a level of it. I told on the broadcast too. When I worked at the kart track, we had a hard cut of 10 carts on the track at the same time. But if every once in a while, I think I've said this on the podcast too before, but if you did 11 or 12, it wasn't like all 10 or 11 or 12 carts are in the same spot, but for some reason, 11 or 12 carts created more incidents than 10 all the time. Yeah. It's just there's just that one, it's like the tipping point, right? Of surface tension with a glass of water, and then the one droplet spills over, and then it spills a bunch. Yeah. There's something about it to that too. So I don't know. I thought about it as an interesting, maybe that's a skill people could pick up if they're learning to pay attention to that kind of thing, especially in series where you have these kind of progressive races or I don't know, even in iRacing, when you have like, oh, I can see like how many people with lower numbers than me are starting behind me, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's number 3, 4, 5, and 8 behind me.
Yeah, so and so must have created like had their quali lap messed up. By the way, I did an accidental DJ no quali. It's on YouTube.
Okay. What was it?
I dirtied both of my laps in a prototype 3 on Silverstone.
Okay.
And I drove through the pack, and I was the chaos. Tom. I was the chaos.
Yeah, nice.
I've never 0x'd so many cars.
I have to go watch that. You posted it in the Discord, right?
Yeah, I posted it. Yeah, it was.
So yeah, that was in all, it was really, really a really enjoyable weekend. And honestly, like I've shared on here that I haven't been necessarily pursuing driving this year because I couldn't pick what I wanted to do. So I've been taking the little things here and there that come, but in doing so, being willing to take time away to commit to doing commentary or other things like that, instead of saying, well, I've already got my calendar full of 3 or 4 events that weekend that I might do.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to take this job. Like I kind of like it. This might be another lane for me.
What, like having the freedom?
Yeah, like, okay, so we've talked about this last year. Every February, I would literally put on my calendar every event that I could find from that day through like the end of November. Yeah. And there would be some weekends where I'd have like 3 different events, and it would be Champ Car here, National Autocross here, and Gridlife here. And if I don't go to any of them, if I don't have a reason to go to any of them, I'd kind of pick one to push to go to as it approached. But I'd have this huge bank of events that were like, all of these things are things that I could do. And then this year I didn't do that. This is the first year in like 7 or 8 years that I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't pick what I was excited to go do. So I just kind of was like, maybe that's okay. And in doing so, I have weekends free for getting contacted with things like this that I would not have otherwise been available for, right?
Yeah, because you would have committed to something else previous.
Right.
What's the time frame that like when you got asked to go do the Gridlife stuff, like what did they reach out to you like a week before, 2 weeks?
It was like 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, it was short.
Yeah, so 2 or 3 weeks, like you would already be committed to be driving this at this thing.
Right. I'd probably be at the Chicago tour with you. Like, oh yeah, no, I'm going to go autocross that weekend. Sorry, I can't.
Yeah.
It's just a different balance coming into this year.
Yeah, it just makes yourself a little less available.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, I'm dealing with that right now, especially like if I've committed to somebody that I'm going to be there, like Peter. I'm going to be at that event driving with you or something like that. I don't even like open myself up to find something else because I already have something for that weekend.
Right. That's kind of what I think about the palate cleansers we talk about. Like as a driver, if you either plan a palate cleanser in or you leave a weekend to be a palate cleanser, you kind of dodge this bullet too.
Right now, I'm just really enjoying the grind. Like I'm just.
Before I ask you about your weekend, Todd Cayley says, Lightning McQueen says, I am speed. DJ says, I am chaos.
I was chaos.
So Lightning McQueen goes ka-chow, right?
Yeah.
You're kaboom. Kaboom.
I was sorry. Sometimes the chaos, it's like a jar, and it like just opens, and it just like everything comes out, and you're just like, oh, it like gets bottled up for so long, and then once the chaos starts leaking out, it's just.
We're gonna get you kaboom stickers.
Yeah.
Also, Gavin says you got a nice kitchen. Actually, this is Peter's kitchen. We borrowed Peter's kitchen for this too. DJ borrows everything from Peter.
Just like I borrowing his car for this upcoming weekend.
But you kind of did. How was Chicago?
Yeah, well, Peter went to Chicago. Well, yeah, I guess I borrowed his car, but Peter was also there.
Sure.
Yeah. Chicago went really good. It was super, super challenging conditions. Like day one, it was like a drizzle, rain. Maybe I think the third run was the best conditions, but not that much better than the second run. And the second run, I put together, like if I did that run at Nationals, I think I would have had the lead that I had on James Yam, which was over a second, like on day one.
Wow.
And then day two, like we were basically the same, but man, day two, so Solo Nationals 2018, going into the last run on day two, I was leading by a half second. And the pressure of drying conditions, and this is the only run that actually matters, broke me. And I literally DNF'd my last run. I couldn't focus because like it was just too much pressure.
Yeah.
And I was just too new at autocross. And this was literally the same situation. I coned my second run. Yam was only a 10th behind me after I coned my second run because the second run was way drier than the first run. So he gained 9/10 on me.
Oh, okay.
So the third run, I could have just cashed it in and just won. And because there's no way he was going to make up a second on me, right? But I saw it as this is the exact situation that killed me in 2018. And I wanted to go out there. Like, it wasn't just me against Yam because he was the only one that had a chance to like catch me. But like there was like 10, 15 other drivers within striking distance, like it would be at nationals.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried my best to get over that mental hurdle and just forget about like the need to win or like the need for any kind of margin at all, and go out there on my last run and drive to win and not drive to not lose. Does that make sense?
It does. Yep.
Yeah. I had margin. It just creeps in like subconsciously. I left like a little extra space in the slalom. I didn't like charge a corner like I did on day one where like I get away with it. I just left like a little like extra margin here and there, and just like, I mean, I was a 10th and a half slower than what James Yam did on day two. So like it wasn't that much margin, and it was also like 8th in packs or whatever, and we had a whole nother run group that was way drier than us, and it was still 8th in packs for the day. So like it wasn't like a super slouch run, but I could feel it. I could feel the margin, and I don't know, it's hard to gauge this stuff, but it felt like if I had that level of margin at nationals on my last run, the only run that mattered, I would have lost.
Yeah, I understand this completely. I did this in 2012.
2012?
I led day one and I blew it day two because I was too concerned with losing that I lost. And someone from like 5th literally came and won because he swung for the fences. Yeah.
You see it all the time.
Well, I was going to ask, so what's, if you could give yourself advice now in the past, like you're coaching yourself, but you're not yourself. My first thought is you're losing sight of finding exits. So you're losing sight of driving the course, and you're driving the car too hard. Like, tell me.
I was leaving a little bit more space on cones than I have been like the whole weekend.
How do you think of the cones on the course? Do you think of them as obstacles, or do you think of them as defining the route? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, I guess they do kind of define the route, but in a like it was especially in the slalom. Because like, you know, if you shave like an inch down from each cone in the slalom, it's a way straighter line and you can go way faster.
Kind. Yes, I understand.
Okay. So if I add like an extra 3 inches of margin on each cone, then my slalom is way slower than it could be.
Sure. Oh, so you're literally driving further away from the cones.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I could tell myself what I know now, when I did that, I would say, stop thinking of the cones as obstacles. Think of them as defining the route. Drive the route.
Yeah. The thing that was tricky, and I'm defending me being a wimp on my last run. The thing that was tricky is that it was changing conditions, and I didn't completely know what I was going to get. And if you remember from Chicago, just offline is just gravel and mud.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's so easy to throw away a run. Kind of like it is at nationals. Like if you get in the OPR, like you kind of just like, you might have just thrown away the whole run depending on like how thick the OPR was.
Yeah.
So it was really great practice for that scenario.
Yeah.
But I came away from it thinking that I feel like if that was nationals, I would have driven to not lose and I would have lost. And it's a hard mental hurdle to get over.
It is, yeah.
And I honestly don't know how I would get myself over that unless I saw that situation again and again and again. I have to convince myself that like the win doesn't matter. Like because if I went out there and just went like, just put together the best run you can, like there's literally no consequences.
Yeah.
Then I would do a better run than if I had the results living anywhere in my brain. If it was just put together your best run and sometimes you hit cones, oh well, then it would be a much better run than me having the context of the event in my head. Oh, I hit a cone in the last one. It's drying conditions. That I should just be maximizing whatever's given to me, like each run.
That's 100%. Okay, so this is kind of what I talk about when I say I wish I could bottle that feeling of after I won my first championship. It was like a light switch different.
Yeah.
But part of the difference is 100% that what I just described of I had a big issue with looking at the cones as a obstacle.
Okay.
So I'll leave that. If that's something that you do as an autocrosser listening, like think about that, right? But also just if I catch myself now slipping into, as long as I don't hit that cone. Like I used to think that way. Like if I just get through that slalom without hitting the cone, I
don't think I've ever been caught in that, but I know plenty of people who have been caught in that.
It's basically if I don't, as long as I don't make this mistake, or if I don't make this mistake, right? Insert whatever mistake here. I will now actively catch myself and force myself to like repeat in the positive what I'm going to do in that spot instead of what I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
And that's something that helps me even when, like on my rougher days when I'm, struggling with, they creep in at big events more than anything else. I feel more pressure at nationals than I felt in pro racing. So like this is something that makes autocross so fascinating to me in general. But if I catch myself thinking like on the next run, I'm just not going to do that. No, stop, rephrase it to what I am going to do, because that gives me an approach and a goal rather than like it's a bad goal. Like not doing something is kind of a bad goal. Like what are you going to do to actually achieve the outcome you want? You set a goal, right? It's like when we set our goals at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's a bad goal. Don't go do that. Is a bad goal.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I know that.
So maybe in the future, if you catch yourself finding yourself saying, I'm going to add some margin to the cones. Oh, I know I hit that cone last run. Like whatever the negative verbalization of it is a little woo woo, but
I think part of it, because I was trying to use that as practice of like what happened in 2018.
Yeah.
Is like, okay, like it's literally the same situation, except it's not nationals. I didn't need to. I didn't need to be inch perfect in all the cones. I could leave the margin and I would have the same result than if I went out there and like put together an amazing run. So maybe at nationals, this wouldn't really apply because I wouldn't feel that way unless I had like a huge gap to everyone.
Sure.
Then maybe I would do the same thing because at some point, maybe that's the smart play. If like, let's say I'm leading the whole class by a second after day one. Well, then my day two doesn't really need to be lights out. If I like, it just needs to be like good enough.
Sure.
So I don't know. I won't lead the whole class by a second. That won't happen. But
you can try.
Someone
did it in that class once 2 years ago, right? Didn't Roller do that?
Yeah, it was Ken Roller. He was leading by a half second in day one, and then he did the same thing day two, and he ended up winning by a second.
By a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, maybe that's at least productive for someone else to hear. It sounds like you kind of know the place you put yourself in the weird position of.
I know what I should do, and I was trying to like in that pressure situation do the right thing, but it was still, even though I knew all the things, it was still really hard to do.
Sure.
It was
autocross is hard, dude.
Dude, it's so hard. It's like such a mental gymnastic like feat. And I'm glad that you say like I felt more pressure in like autocross like nationals than you do in pro racing, because honestly, like even when I was playing Halo in like tournaments and it would come down, oh, I have the snipe and it comes down to like it's 48-48 and I'm the one that's expected the last 2 kills. Fucking nothing compared to solo nationals. I tell you what, like like there's something about the format of the competition that just like, oh man. And I wish I could just tap into like the piece, the piece that I felt at like the Washington Pro Solo, like for the challenge. Well, I'm just going to go do laps.
Mm-hmm.
Like I try to tap into that because I like fell into like a special, I'm just going to do laps place. Maybe I just need like a soundboard where it's just Austin Cobb saying, just do laps. That'd be nice.
Or a button, the easy button like Staples had.
Yeah, it's on my dash and it just says, just do laps.
The laps button.
That'd be pretty nice.
Okay. So you had a mental exercise, but you also won.
I did win. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I think both my runs on both days were pretty good. The day one run, I think, was like particularly good. And then day two was just like, I don't know. It was like fine. It wasn't a nationals winning run, but like it was good enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, super challenging conditions the whole time, especially Chicago, like that. They have like a dirt oval right next to it, and it rained like 6 inches the night before. So on day 2, like the whole like parking lot was just covered in mud.
Ugh.
Like,
wait, so it was drying both days?
it was like, it was wet, but not like super soaked on day 1.
Yeah.
So the just offline was just like the mud and gravel. It wouldn't, like when it's dry, the gravel kind of like floofs a little bit.
Yeah.
It kind of like dissipates. So it's like, but no, it was immediately offline was just shit. Like you would just throw away the run immediately. So if you go into the Discord and watch my like day 1 run, like I was flirting with disaster everywhere because I was just on the edge of where the line was. Yeah, it was the day 1 run was pretty good. If I did that run at Nationals, I think I would be at least leading after day 1. So
that's cool.
But yeah, it was fun. And Chicago traffic sucks. You experienced that driving back from Wisconsin?
Mostly Ito. I it was very funny to like, I don't know what this did. I was just kind of, so I carpooled with Ito up to Road America. So we were driving back through Chicago and he does this thing where he'll zoom out the map and like look how far ahead, like every couple of minutes just to see.
Like see how far ahead the traffic jam is?
Yeah. And I've never seen anybody do that before, like in person, I guess in real time. And I was kind of wondering like, what's he think that's going to change? I don't know.
It's not going to change anything, but maybe he's just setting like his expectations.
Exactly. It must have been.
Yeah. Okay.
But I just got to be passenger princess. It was great.
Yeah. Oh, great job, Ito.
Yep. Thanks, Ito.
No, but again, Tom and Kyle's in the chat right now. Like the broadcast was super good.
I bragged on Kyle on the broadcast, but guys, everything you see, Kyle did. Yeah. He's literally programming, like sometimes manually inserting programming lines into whatever thing he's doing to make the like live points work, or to make some graphic work, or to make the fire laps thing that has live data work. It's like nonstop. So that production is like literally so impressive to me, and it is essentially on the shoulders of one person. Yeah, and it's Kyle.
Somehow Kyle took the sim racing broadcast thing and then brought it into real life. That's basically what Kyle's doing, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
So yeah, the broadcast was cool, and my feedback for the whole broadcast is that it needs more stationary drone cameras.
Dude, okay, that was like a game changer to me. If you haven't watched the broadcast yet, they were using one drone. But the drone pilot, for the first time ever, I've never seen this before, was using it as a static camera sometimes. So he would do either, he would basically use it instead of chasing cars all the time. He would just put it at the apex of turn 8, or he would put it, up high and then have it travel like a nice linear descend down to the track.
Yeah.
He would just like these things that you can't do with anything but a cable camera. And I've seen the cable cameras, but I assume that that's like way out of touch.
Yeah.
Using a drone to do it is like, why doesn't level. Everybody have 4 of those doing little things?
Exactly.
Like it's so smart.
It's like, yeah, dude, exactly.
That guy deserves a raise too. I don't know who it was, but
dude, and then like following like on Luke McGrew's lap, by the way, I don't know if Luke actually listens to this. He's been a guest on the podcast, but like from the outside, Luke's lap looked really good.
Yeah.
And then the only part that we didn't see, like he messed up, which was in Canada Corner, and Luke will tell you that he messed that up. But
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, but the rest of the lap was like, and you could see it on camera. Like on camera, you're like, holy, like especially like the pivot into turn 7, you're like, Luke is like feeling this lap right here. Yeah, like it was good. And then you with the commentary, and also Kyle like recognizing that like, hey, this is kind of a special lap that's happening right now. Like, cause you can see it. It's like every inch of the track, the way the car's floating, like it doesn't look ragged or wild or like double inputs or whatever. Yeah, it was just super good. Why aren't there in-car cameras in Time Attack for the people you guys know are going to be setting records or like fighting for like class wins? Or
I assume it's just a production bandwidth issue.
Because at some point there was in-car cameras, so I don't know what happened to those.
Yeah, it was always kind of spotty, and that was the previous production team. There's a whole new team that's in now, so it's like a different company basically.
Okay,
but
that makes sense.
I'm assuming it's expensive, and it's like Kyle literally just said.
He said really expensive.
Yeah. How about we just have the drone pilot fly the drone in the car? Fly it in the window?
Yep.
One of the coolest drone shots I've ever seen, actually. It was a drift session at Midwest. The drone pilot was basically like, it was traveling in the car. He was basically put the drone right in the window, so it looked like you were in a in-car camera. And then as the person initiated the drift, the drone like zoomed out of the camera and just like did this huge like pan up. So you went from thinking you were riding in the car on a camera.
How do you even do that? The skill of that is outrageous.
I know. It was so cool. This was 3 or 4 years ago now that this person pulled that off. But I was like, wow, They literally made it look like an in-car camera, and then all of a sudden it was like completely not a drone way out.
The thing with the drone cameras is, and sorry for droning on about the drone cameras. We actually have a rim shot somewhere near. No, that's the intro.
Damn.
This is why Tom doesn't have a soundboard.
What about this one?
Nope, that's
damn.
Nope.
Nope.
It's here we are. We got there eventually. Remember, this was our what was this?
That's our cheesy hype up game show.
No, that wasn't the game
sales
show.
pitch.
Yeah, that's when we were like had like a fake ad or something. Be like, are you a drone pilot? Are you absolutely disgusting on the sticks? Gridlife is looking for you.
What does that mean on the sticks?
Yeah, the
sticks.
The sticks, yeah.
Joysticks. Yeah. Wow. Well done.
Well, that's a gaming term.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some other people out there got it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not educated. Yeah, I was going to say something about if I get to do broadcast more, which I hope to, that's that level of what we did with Luke. That's what I hope to like until there's a different way for Time Attack to even function. Like it's just like one of the least compelling formats when you don't know who's going to do what. And there's 5 different cars doing it all at the same time. It's like really, really difficult to capture. But I think that stuff that we did, some of that added to it a lot. I was like really proud of that.
I
just hope we can do it for more people more often.
I think if you had somebody in production who would like has a really good understanding of the track and where like good angles would be, like honestly, Kyle would be sick at this because like Kyle knows this from like the sim stuff. Like how good of a camera angle would be like from a specific spot on the entry into 7, like the way the car would like carve, and like if a camera was like if you got a drone stationary like real low and like on the edge of the racetrack there, like looking at the exit of 7, like the way the car would like carve there, it gives like a real good sense of speed. Like I think honestly like that stationary drone camera like is like, oh my God, we could be doing this everywhere. Like all those shots that we wish we could have, because the problem with like with any kind of budgeted production is that the cameras are kind of far away and they're kind of like high up. So like you don't get that sense of speed that is actually in existence unless you're like zoomed way in. But like that's like a whole like that's a professional thing.
Yeah.
He's going to produce a little at Lime Rock.
Cool.
So and I know Kyle, you have, man, we should have had Kyle on the show. But I know where are you right now? We're in Cleveland.
I'm going to guess Chicago. A couple of people asked for the lap. Luke already posted his lap with a cutout of the broadcast, so you can see what it looked like for him with listening to us.
Yeah, so go check out Luke's lap. It was pretty good, except Canada Corner. But Luke will tell you he messed it up. I was talking to Luke about the lap.
Okay, cool. That's the other thing is if I'm ever getting too harsh, the podcast listeners got to hold me accountable because I want to be honest and I want to bring people in the car. And sometimes that means pointing out mistakes. But if I'm literally only pointing out mistakes, that's no good. That's not my job. So
yeah.
I don't think I did. Someone in Paul in the live chat here said people didn't like when I said the guy that crashed in the kink was asking for it. But I only said that because he didn't actually crash. He just like bounced it off the wall after drifting all weekend. In his Time Attack car, I was like,
guys,
he's asking for it.
He was kind of asking for it.
Yeah.
If you disagree with that, then maybe you've never asked for it and been bitten before.
Yes,
but
and he was out the next set. Like it was
okay.
Okay. What else from this weekend? Was there anything else from this weekend I wanted to talk about? We had a couple really good questions.
Oh, we did.
But I feel like we're hitting questions pretty quick.
No, we're good. We're a half hour in.
Okay.
So we got isn't there like some sim racing happening tonight? Oh no, that probably already happened. If we want to do some sim racing after this, we should. Because
I'll do the pedals and DJ can do the steering wheel.
Yeah, and whoever beats us gets a free
congratulations
sticker.
A thumbs up.
All right. Let me jump over to the questions. Sorry, this setup's a little different than it normally is. All right. What's that? What are you pointing at?
Do the thing.
Oh, the thing? You can do the thing? You want to do the thing?
Yeah, what color is it?
Purple button.
Guys, I'm going to do the thing.
No, that's...
Emails.
Okay.
That was loud.
That was perfect. No, that was perfect. Sounded good in the microphone. I bet Christine heard it, though.
She's out in the backyard.
She's in the backyard.
She probably did hear it.
She probably did hear it. All right. So this one is from Spicy Cat Racing. One of the things I'm working on is trying to be up to speed quicker when getting into a completely new car. When you started branching into other cars, what were your biggest learning moments that helped you get consistent in a new car quickly?
Okay. We've actually had a very
think way
similar.
back.
Yeah, we've had a very similar question to this. So let me try to.
I'm trying to put myself in like the first couple cars that I drove that weren't mine.
Honestly, like way back, my first thought is be willing to make mistakes. Like especially if you're in autocross, but even if you're on track, like be willing to like make some mistakes and be a little bit dirty rather than that's my approach when I was like early. That's why I'm going here first.
This is teenage Tom.
Teenage Tom would throw everything at the wall, see what sticks. I was autocrossing only at the time.
How many bumpers did you explode on a cold cone?
None. I also literally never thought about cones being able to hurt a car until 10 years of autocross later.
No
I
way,
got
really?
jobs and marketing jobs and ride and drive jobs and stuff that you're like going through a parking lot of cones all day. And they would tell us as employees, like, the people can't hit cones. You really need to make sure they don't hit cones. And you can never hit a cone if you drive the car, like, because we don't want to damage it. And I thought, oh, I've driven all these cool cars at all these autocrosses everywhere, and it literally never even crossed my mind that it could hurt the car. I apparently got very lucky.
First car I've ever hurt that wasn't mine.
Yeah.
Noah Feldstein. He had a E Street Miata. Now it's like a XA Miata, but it was a Mazda Speed. And it got loose coming across the finish line, and I went sideways through the finish, and it was like 30 something degrees, and I dented his rocker.
Whoa.
With a cone.
With a cone.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, I guess I got lucky. I don't know.
He didn't, I mean, he probably cared, but it was like, I was like, all right, let me know how we're going to fix that. And I never heard anything, but like, I very well, like, I don't know, how much does it cost to repair a rocker? Like, probably pretty expensive, right?
I think you just buy a new car, right?
The whole car.
Isn't that the only, kind of serious? Isn't that the only part you can't, I mean,
no, they can weld like a piece of metal into it and like pull it out or whatever. Okay. But the reason I bring that up is you shouldn't be afraid of making mistakes, because you will make mistakes, but those mistakes is where you learn. I don't even remember why I got loose in the finish or whatever. It's probably just turned more than whatever I was used to driving. But really, I think
you got in the marbles.
I got in the marbles.
Just kidding.
I think the biggest thing to focus on when like another car is the tires, because at the end of the day, the tires on the surface are going to interact the same as they do in any other car. Just the way the weight moves around is going to be a little bit different. But if you leave your focus on the tires, then you won't be caught off guard. And you'll also put together the information in the ways that it's different than whatever you've driven in the past much quicker if you're focusing on like what you're doing and what its impact to the tires are.
Yeah. To finish my thought about the making mistakes, the part that I've learned that I want to add to this is specifically around preconceived notions. Like I was talking to somebody recently about what they would think a car would be like if they were to drive that car. And that's what made me think of this right now, is if you have a preconceived notion about what is supposed to be happening, first of all, or what the car is supposed to feel like, things like that, try to throw that out the window, or at least be willing to push the limits on it, because that's when you're going to learn if it's okay or not.
Yeah.
And there's all sorts of times that I was doing things that were either wrong or that were not necessarily okay for that car, or like all sorts of stuff. But I also learned every single time I did that. And I got better at not making preconceived notions about a car. And then I also got, as a byproduct of that, really good at knowing kind of what to expect from a car, but like I was still real fluid, right? Like, so if I get in a Corvette, it's a Corvette. I know what it's going to feel like mostly, but then if it has a thing to it, because it's not every Corvette, it's this specific one, then I know like I'm flexible.
So with the flexible thing,
yeah,
if you recognize that there's something weird about the car, like speaking of Corvettes, I drove a C7 Grand Sport in a class called SSR when that existed. That doesn't exist anymore, right?
No,
it doesn't exist. Okay. So it was basically just like a stock car on Hoosiers. And for some reason, when they got rid of like the Hoosier Street classes, they kept like SS, like Super Street with Hoosiers. So that it was this class, and I was driving it for the first time at a national event. And the thing that caught me off guard, and I couldn't adapt to it as quick as possible because I never drove a car that was like this before, was where the first 50% of the throttle was actually only like 10% of the throttle.
Yeah.
And then the next 50% of the throttle was the rest of the 90% of like the throttle like actually opening.
Yeah.
So I was late on throttle everywhere because I would start rolling into the throttle, nothing would happen, and then all of a sudden it would start accelerating, but I'm already past the apex and I didn't even like track out to like wherever I was intending the car to go.
Sure. And Corvettes have only gotten worse, by the way. If you drive a C8, they're even worse than that with that sort of, it's probably just for comfort stuff, but
so
go ahead.
The thing so I drove it in that national event. Day 2, I was like on pace, but like day 1, I just like couldn't put it together in time. But after day 1, I recognized like the oddity that was like holding me back, why I was late on throttle and stuff like that. And then I drove it in my head, like visualizing it as many times as I could before day 2. And then by the time I got to day 2, I was fine. And then the next event I drove, it was actually my first time I ever took top packs at a national event. But I drove it 1,000 times in my head, and while I only actually took like 12 runs total in the car, is because I like was thinking about how I have to snap into half throttle and then roll into the rest, and snap into half throttle, roll into the rest, and I would like literally while I'm thinking about it be doing that with my foot. So like if you recognize something weird about the car, and you can do this in between runs, if you recognize the thing that's like weird or like throwing you off, or like maybe it's in the MR2 Spider and like it's like, wow, it's really spinny on entry, so like I can't really like charge the entries how I want. Well, then drive the course in your head, not completely charging the entries like you normally would in like the car that you normally drive, or like make the adjustment in your head and then drive that adjustment with like visualization. And then when you actually go to drive the car, like you're going to do better than you would otherwise. So like and from the outside, it just looks like, oh, so-and-so is really adapting to that car or whatever. And
dare I say talented?
Yeah. So-and-so is really talented. And meanwhile, you're just efforting the crap out of it in the corner by yourself. Yeah. Just like from the outside, it's going to look like you're super adaptable, but like really what you're doing is you're just visualizing the things that you want to approach differently in between runs, because we always have like 5 to 10 minutes in between runs depending on the region or whatever. Yeah. And then sometimes if it's like a 2-day event, you have a whole afternoon to visualize how this is going to go. You know what's hard?
What?
Walking a course without understanding anything that the car is going to do that you're driving.
For a while, yeah. But then I disagree. I think you
get to a certain amount of experience where like it at some point doesn't matter. I'm thinking back to when I first started, which is where the question was.
Yeah. So I think that's really good advice with the visualization practicing and things like that. And I also, this was from Ryan. I know Ryan does, I think, quite a bit more track driving than autocross. So everything we've talked about now is really good practical driving advice. But I'll add in for road course, if you want to just be like really practical driving advice for the road course, you should understand, to your point about throttle position, when is the car going to snap sideways, or when is the car going to, pivot underneath me because of throttle input. You should understand basically what brake pressure the ABS kicks in.
Yep.
You should try to understand any sort of these other nuances, right? That this input equals this output with the car. This is what I'm going to get because of this, but basically over or at the limit. And I think a lot of people go out trying to approach the limit from the bottom so casually that they basically end up going towards the limit but never having crossed it. So they always have that little bit of underlying. Like, I don't drive a car in fear of going over the limit, but I think it's because I've done it so much at this point that it's just not really a thing. And 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when I would do that, I would actively try to put that, not even actively, I was just an idiot. So I would do it. Like, I would just put the car over the limit a little bit, but that was my way of not being afraid to make some mistakes. I would usually do it in slower corners, right? Like on a road course,
less risky, less.
Yeah, I'm going to roll in the throttle a little too much almost, and I'm going to understand what happens, because sometimes you might find out I'm in a C7 Corvette with half the throttle not doing anything.
Yeah,
I can be way more aggressive, or other times, you're going to find out the opposite.
Yeah, like when you're rolling in throttle, like maybe the diff like locks in a way that like actually really carves really nicely out, so you don't have to be afraid of it. You can just get to that carve, like that like large input window like on exit every time, and you know it's not going to bite you, or maybe you get in and it just like goes for a slide and it just keeps doing it, like it just doesn't stop for some reason. So then you know, okay, this car's kind of nervous, like I kind of have to like roll in slower, like using the slower corners to try to get that information. I think the takeaway there is you purposely go after information.
Yes.
You don't just get like surprised by the information and then try to decrypt it afterwards. Like
But
you're purposely putting the car into states where you can glean information off of it.
Yes. But to your point about either walking a course or doing a lap without having ever understood the car, I don't think that that's a real, true, fair statement, because I think that, again, if you're really, really new, that's not to say you should know more than you know, but in reality, you're driving a physics model. You're not driving a car, right? Physics are physics, and you're also driving a predetermined course. You're driving the autocross course or the track, and you should basically be able to learn quicker what the course needs than what every single car needs, right? Or even what physics needs.
Yeah.
I think I'm making sense, but let me finish the thought. So you're walking your course, and you know, like, I want to do a later apex here. I know I need to backside this cone, or I know I need to hit this brake zone, right? This is a big brake zone. Then you are applying the car to that rather than vice versa. Does that make sense? I think people who are not pushing the car early, or have a hard time pushing the car to get closer to its pace early, are too concerned with driving the car and not concerned enough with using the tool that is the car to drive the physics that we're playing by on the course that you're on. Is that too meta? Tell me what you're thinking.
So, no, I completely follow with what you're saying. I think the part that's difficult is, so when I'm walking a course, I'm kind of getting like a window of what I think my angle will end up at, like on specific cones, and that kind of like dictates like the speed or the flow like through an element.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on like if a car turns really well on entry, but then pushes on exit, or like is completely fine on exit but not good on entry, that changes your angles on these different cones. So like having an understanding of the angles on specific cones, you kind of just don't know. Like you're just kind of like, well, I'll figure it out when I get here, right?
But you're describing this saying that you have a predetermined understanding of what you want from the car, and then you're just tweaking to the car.
Yeah. But that's still,
kind of my point.
That's still more difficult than if you knew what you're going to expect.
Yeah, I'm not making my point perfectly, but I do feel that it's basically rooted in, if you're not willing to make the car do what you need it to do. Let me try this instead. I'm shooting in the dark a little bit, but the first time I drove a Corvette Z06 C6 Z06 at Mid Ohio, I had never driven a car anywhere close to even a little bit that fast before. I'd driven my Miata and one other Miata on Mid Ohio.
Yeah.
And then I was put in this car. And that difference, right? Like I have a basic understanding of Mid Ohio, I have a basic understanding of what I want from the car. I was able to know that certain things like the brake zone for the keyhole, brake zone for turn 4, the placement of making sure that I, wrap the backside of turn 5 so that the overhill crest doesn't like throw me off the right side of the track. There was almost like the checklist of the lap that was primary.
Yeah.
And then there were some surprises, like the amount of lift it generated down the back straight at 135 alarmed the hell out of me. So the first time I got halfway down the back straight and had to turn the wheel a little bit to like make what now became kind of a corner, it was like,
yeah,
that spooked me a little bit. And then the next lap, it was like, okay, I didn't die last time. It's flat out. It's a straightaway. Come on. That's what it feels like to go 140 miles an hour. First time doing it. The other part that surprised me was how fast I came up on turn 11 specifically, and how big the braking zone for that corner became, because you accelerate to 130 instead of like 95. Yeah.
Which is like basically flat through that corner.
Right. So I kind of had like these couple little surprises, but in general, I trusted what I know of the course, and I trusted to attack parts of the car, I guess. And maybe that makes my point a little bit better, is that you should trust some of your knowledge. You should be willing to do this intentional information seeking.
I think on a racetrack that absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you have a baseline of like the general things that make pace on that track, no matter what car you drove.
Okay.
I'm
going to get you so good right here.
Okay.
Say what you're going to say.
On autocross, you don't have a baseline for anything because
Wrong.
because you're walking the course for the first time.
Wrong.
Okay. Why? Because you're. Let me guess what you're gonna say. You allow me to.
Yeah.
Okay. Because all those elements are just like recycled from past elements that you've seen a million times before.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Remember when I said when you're just starting out?
Yeah. You're right. Okay. So this is productive still for someone just starting out to say that there are things about autocross courses that you can learn that might seem way too, that may seem impossible now. Things like, so I think of autocross as two things. It's either a transitional element or it's a corner. And either way, no matter how they're linked together, how many of each there are, there's a basic understanding of how to like backside the first cone in a slalom or transitional element of any kind so that you build speed throughout and that you carry as much speed past the final bit of this transition as possible. Or for a corner, in general, you're basically cutting distance. There's a couple of like concepts of autocross courses that no matter what car you're driving on what course, on what day, in whatever, if you know those basics, no they will always apply.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if you're hearing this going like, how the hell am I supposed to know that? If you've put a little bit more emphasis on understanding those things by hearing this conversation, then all of a sudden you become like a superhero faster at autocross, because at the end of the day, it's only those two things that can be linked together. And they have a very small, number of options for like the concept behind them. I'm losing my train of thought here, but does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Basically, here, I'll sum it up. Don't try to big brain it. It's just wiggling back and forth or corners. Boom, got it.
Kind of, yeah.
Don't big brain it. Get your big brain out of here.
Or on the flip, like do big brain it. Like
leave your big brain at home.
It's never that different. How about let's say it that way? It's never that different.
Okay.
At the end of the day, it is kind of all you're trying to do the same thing. The same way that the fastest way around a road course is basically always the same.
I've been autocrossing for 10 years now, and sometimes I get to an element and I like have to like stand there and like walk through it and look backwards and like walk back to the beginning of it and be like, what the hell is going on here?
Have you ever come to the conclusion of adding distance is better?
No.
And then it be correct?
It's more like I'm trying to figure out like the angles of the things before to like best link and like think about the time spent in the element and where's a good place to give up time, and like I'm trying to like process that.
I kind of get what you're saying. I almost feel like you're big braining it a little bit too much.
I am big braining. That's what I'm saying. Just leave it at home. The big brain's not necessary.
Yeah, it's in its most basic function of doing a course walk. It's really not that complicated. Okay. In my of course, I probably sound like I'm on my high horse and everything, but
nope. I'm just gonna.
Like,
you know what?
I kind of want to give people that like it's not that complicated.
You know what? I don't even know how many national championships I've attempted to get at this point. But you know what I've always done? I've always walked the course, Tom. I'm not walking the course this year.
Oh.
It's bad luck.
It can't be that hard. Tom Gorman said so on the podcast.
I can't big brain it if I don't brain it at all.
No, yes, I know you're fucking with me. But it's basically like, don't approach it that complicated. Just do the course walk and like what your gut says when you start to gain these like.
I remember last year you literally walked. I think it was Cornside course. You walked it once, and I was like, "You gonna walk it again?" You're like, "Nah, I got it." I was like, "You fucker!"
But it doesn't mean I got it. Like I'm literally gonna like I know it inside and out. It's like I kind of know what I want to accomplish on my first run, and I can't figure out any more than that. So I'm good to go.
Yeah. God damn.
I did walk it more, by the way.
Oh, did you?
In the middle of the night where no one could see me. No, I'm kidding. I did walk it like 2 or 3 more times. In my Camaro. With the headlights off.
You had like freaking military grade night vision goggles.
No, I do it by braille. So when I hear it, okay, I got to tweak that line a little.
You get it so tuned in that you don't even need to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Hey, Lizard Brains podcast, you get the hot tips here.
We're way off topic, I think. Are we?
Oh,
getting up to speed
absolutely
quicker. Is there anything else that we can think about that gets you up to speed quicker? I think the intentional information seeking is really important.
Yep. And pay attention to the tires when you're doing that intentional information seeking, and you'll get the relevant information.
Oh, the last thing I want to say for this helps with road courses more than anything. identifying light braking zones, identifying small speed adjustments, and consciously treating them differently than big speed adjustments. I think that's a really difficult
Ooh,
thing
yeah,
for
yeah,
people
yeah,
who
yeah, yeah.
don't have, who have not experienced or enough to like every corner. That the faster the corner is, what I find is you usually brake a little bit earlier, and you have to get off the brakes a little bit earlier. You have to keep this platform a little bit more stable. But if you go into a course understanding a new track, whatever, new car, to say like there's less is more in this scenario. Let's use the kink at CMP, for example. If you were to go from your Miata to a Corvette, you're getting there 30 miles an hour faster. It's still a small speed adjustment for that car, because like relative to the course, right? You're not
Yeah.
doing a massive brake zone. So even though you feel like you're coming into a bigger corner and you want to maybe treat it like a bigger brake zone, you should be able to maybe do the assessment like that's still a fast corner. I'm going to do my braking a little earlier. I'm going to do them a little bit lighter. I'm going to get off the brakes a little bit sooner, because that's still going to like let the weight do what it needs to do to get me through that corner faster. I know that I was pretty bad about like bombing into corners when I started driving faster cars, and learning to undo some of that helps you be more confident in high speed corners. So think about that too.
I saw a lot of people kind of charging into the kink, and they would get kind of little ass backwards on the way in. And it's just like, man, if you just like lifted as you were getting to the outside curbing and then just rolled and throttled to shove the car to the...
You're just shooting your confidence when you do that to yourself.
Yeah. Hold on one second. Okay. We heard a loud crash, and I wasn't sure if Christine was laying on the ground twitching, so I had to ask if she was okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this next question kind of piggybacks off of it, right?
Yeah. So Derek Palmerton writes in, he goes, on a similar note, I'm trying to be up to speed faster in my own car at autocross. Usually given 6 runs, I can put together a solid run. But being fast and in control in 3 is very challenging for me. Is there anything specific to practice here?
Interesting. Do you have an initial thought? Kind of do.
Honestly, I'm not. I don't think I have like here's the obvious answer to this one, because I feel like there could be like so many potential issues that's at play.
There certainly could be a number of them. My first gut thought is that you should work on your understanding of the approach to the first run. Kind of what I just said about, like it's not that complicated. I hate that comes out that way, but let me try more. So if you are taking time to build up to faster and faster and faster over 6 runs, 6 laps instead of 3, that means you're not giving yourself enough information on the first one. And if you don't have that information, then that's the thing you should focus on studying and practicing. In that, you should be willing to be wrong, but develop at least a plan for the first run, and then start to really pay attention with what works. So if you start to find out, let's go real specific, you start to find out that you are getting behind in every slalom on your first run, and it takes you 3 runs to dial that out.
Yeah, that's too slow.
Focus in on that hardcore. Like I need to fix why I'm getting behind. It's not like I need to do better at slaloms. It's not like I need to get ahead in slaloms. I need to focus on why am I not getting behind the first cone? Why am I getting behind?
Yeah.
And then that, even to your next course walk, to your next, anytime you see transitions, like that can be your main thing. And again, this is something like now I've been doing this for 20 years. I can verbalize it a little too harshly probably, but it's like, if you can notice, why am I going too slow on the first course, first look at the course, you need to work on your ability to pick up what the course needs from you in some of the ways that we just described. I think, is that it?
Yeah. I think Derek, what you could do is walk the course, get an idea of what you're going to do. And by the way, your ideas of what you're going to do, they don't necessarily have to be like, and they shouldn't be like solidified in concrete.
Correct.
You should have a general idea of what you're going to do and what your first run is going to teach you. And if you have any like preconceived notions of what's going to happen and those are wrong, then take that as like the immediate feedback that during your course walk you had you assumed incorrectly. And try to take note especially if there's patterns of like, if you keep assuming the wrong things, incorrectly, or the same things incorrectly, that's what I meant to say, then like try to get down to the root of like, okay, well, what am I not understanding here? Like, be really like proactive on like the things that we're not understanding, and ask questions, think about it, watch video, watch your first run, watch your second run, like identify mistakes in your first run, and then see if those mistakes get fixed in your second run. Now, here's a caveat. If you go out there on your first run and there's 10 mistakes, you're not going to fix all 10 mistakes in your second run. Like, that's just not going to happen, because really you're just going to fix like 2 to maybe 4 mistakes.
Mentally, I plan for 1.
I always do 2.
You're right. A and B.
Like a primary and a bonus.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jinx.
Did you say bonus? Oh, you said primary.
Primary.
Okay.
I don't know.
This is what happens when we're sitting next to each other. So yeah, I always have like the primary, like this is the lowest hanging fruit. And then this is like, okay, like hopefully I can also put this together. And then I do that run. And then the third run is generally like, okay, like, all right, now the fruit's a little higher than it was on the second run. Like, let's see what I can put together. And a lot of that is based on the performance of the first run. Another thing I'll throw out about the first run, because that's something I've been focusing on a lot, of just getting better on my first runs. And I think so I was looking through nationals results in like the last couple of years. I was bored at work. Sorry, anybody at work listening to this, but that's what I was doing for about 10 minutes. And I would see a lot of runs where somebody would literally win it on their first run, and they would never get better from the first run. I think how those runs happen is they were amazing with what their vision was telling them on their first run. So like they had a course walk, they had a game plan, their vision and their feedback from like the first couple times, they applied that feedback like really accurately on that first run. And then they couldn't like recreate that like for the next 2 runs. And because the car heat soaks or the tires are hotter or whatever, like they just like put it together in the first run. But I think like the foundational thing on that first run was just having this like super diligent information coming into their eyeballs. And a lot of that is like that Tomo time thing that we've been talking about. I think picking out spots where I can sneak my eyes further up course than normal during my course walks has helped my first runs become like immensely better this year.
Yeah, and I think that there's 2 parts to that. So I completely agree. The information that your eyes are getting is probably the majority of what you need to be doing. And then I kind of think everything else past that is literally like break release.
Yeah.
Like if you have those 2 things, that's how those magic runs happen. But I don't think that you can just rely on your vision to be that good, or practice even your vision getting that good for the first run to come out that way, or for the first lap to come out that way. I think that learning to understand the patterns of what the course requires, that's when it starts.
Yeah.
So for me, when I'm walking a course and I say I walked it once and I got it, like I have my like 6, we used to call them key cones in the SCCA starting line school, walking the course and identifying key cones, which is basically like the exit of the corner.
Or the cone that is
the cone that dictates the exit of the corner.
Exactly,
yes, exactly. So that's kind of like, I've taken that to heart and basically run with that. Like I pick out like, whether it's a transition or a corner, there's going to be a cone that defines the exit. And as long as I'm mostly on point with those very few number of spots relative to the number of cones on course or the number of turns of the steering wheel, then that's the most information I can have before I drive the car.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yep.
And then if you've thought through the course in those terms, right? You have identified the important exits, or if you're on a road course, you've found you've mentally put the exits of all the corners in the image of your mind. This kind of goes into what Ross Bentley was talking about in that awesome conversation, right? If you are able to visualize those or identify those, you have almost all the information. Then your eyes are more likely to follow that pattern that you've already run through in your head. So that's why, like when I drive a course in my brain, I don't like grab the steering wheel and do the turns like people sometimes do, or like try to remember every single thing. I try to remember like where are those key moments that define either a key exit or like what is the basic route through the parking lot even, or the runway or whatever it is. That lets me sort of have like a pattern of where my eyes are going to go.
Yeah.
And then that's a better way to give my eyes the best information they can get, rather than look ahead or rather than rely on them to pick it up as I go.
Like you're identifying the spots where your eyes are really going to pay off.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Well,
So that's, I think that's also a way that was going to be my second answer to this question is if your eyes are not proactive enough, you can work on this, but it's kind of saying saying the same thing two ways, I think a bit.
I also think that those runs, because looking through the results, I was trying to see if there's like patterns or things or like just seeing if there was something I noticed, because I never really like actually looked through the Solo Nationals results because there's like a ton of data in there. Mm-hmm. And I will say that the first run being the fastest run is like super rare. I think it's also kind of lucky when it happens, because that means, because you really should be exploring on your first run. Like there should probably be some mistakes in your first run, so you get that information to apply to your other runs. But sometimes the things that you try and what, like it just sticks. And then like that ends up being your fastest run because you're like, wow, everything I tried just stuck. And like, I tried other stuff in those other runs and it didn't stick and they were slower because of it.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's the scenario where like, you're just like, well, I guess I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. That was my day 2 last year in the Camaro.
Was your first run the fastest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew it. Like you're kind of in that like, well, I don't know that I could do anything better.
I remember coming over and talking to you.
I'm pretty sure the car is going to be slower at this point. Yeah. So
I remember
I think I did it
after your second run, and I was like, "Oh, you got more time out there?" And you're like, "I think I did it on my first." And I was like, "What are you gonna do?" He's like, "I'm gonna try to. There's maybe a little bit like here, but I don't know."
Yeah, kind of.
Like that's what our conversation was.
And you can't aim for that. Like that's like to your point. Yeah, it's
kind of lucky.
The luck of the luck is the intersection of preparation and opportunity.
Yeah. I think that illustrates that perfectly. Yeah. Like you put yourself in a position to have that run like that from everything that we just talked about. But it's when it happens, you're just kind of like, well, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little bit like, I don't know. I guess I don't play poker or gamble, but it's a little bit like that. Like, oh, everything I thought I knew is playing out exactly into my plan, right? You're like,
What is Todd Cayley saying in the chat here? Hold on, I gotta change this. Okay, Todd Cayley in the chat says, I still want to set up an autocross where you don't walk the course. You are put in a blindfold and sat in your car that's on the starting line. You get to take the blindfold off as the tree starts from a pro solo. You only get one run.
Okay.
I think I'd be kind of down for that. And then they change the course over. They like change like pointers and stuff like that. And then everyone has to do another one and they add the times together.
I'm so down.
That sounds fun.
This sounds like making autocross operations even less efficient than they already are.
This would be like a Toledo Express like team day or whatever, where like the entries are capped at 40 cars and like instead of getting like 15 runs on like tire destroying concrete, you mix it up a little bit like that. Like this year at Toledo, we did the rally cross, like accumulation timing, which was
it'd be good for that.
Dude, it was actually pretty legit.
Yeah. I think that would be a really fun format.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you do accumulation timing and then you just
without course walking.
Yeah, and you like switch around the.
So that's actually part of the first time I ever did instructing, like hired instructing, was for Evolution Performance Driving School, and their phase 2 school changes the course 4 times over the course of a day.
I think that would actually be really good teaching.
Yeah, so we typically would do the first part of the morning was on whatever we set up. The second part of the morning was backwards direction maybe. And then after the morning, in the afternoon, it's been 15 years since I've done this, so it's a little blurry, but in the afternoon, we would start by us driving the car, and we would have to tell them, hi, I'm new. I've never done this before. Can you help me and get me through the course? And we got to play dumb. It was so fun. Like we literally just like, if they don't tell you to turn, you just keep going straight. Like that's how fast, and it was a demonstration of like this is how fast things come at you, and you have like it was just a quick little thing, and then we'd swap back, and but also all the pointer cones would be flipped at that point. We did it during lunch, and they would never see us.
Yeah,
or if they were paying attention, maybe, and then
like,
it would
what are they
flip,
doing out there?
and then I think we went back to reverse after that. So it was basically like it was a constant challenge of throwing a new thing at them, which I think is a really powerful school tool because otherwise you can get really good at a course on a school day. Like if you do 30 runs on the same course, you get better at it.
Yeah.
But this was, hopefully. No, I think literally, but yeah, you switch it up like that. It was a really cool learning tool.
So Todd, Kaylee, we're down. So, all right, Tom, what are you doing this weekend?
I'm autocrossing. What are you doing?
We're both autocrossing.
Guys, this is my first competitive event of the year. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it is. You didn't autocross at some other point during the year? Didn't you do like a...
I did an ASM driver's day, which was like no results. But it did have a timer, so I guess it was sort of competitive.
Yeah, I don't know if that counts.
I did some data laps.
This is an SCCA solo nationals.
And then I did something else. There is something, so I might be lying. But in general, this is my first competition event of the year. I'm driving with Ken Hausiel in XA. Yeah. In his Subaru BRZ that's supercharged, right?
It's supercharged, yeah. It has a basically the suspension setup that we might put on Peter's car. So Tom's doing some recon.
Yeah. But I'm way more excited because I also designed the course for this event. This is only my second time doing a course for a national event. I named all the elements after inside jokes from the podcast. So if you're going, you'll recognize them. I'll also share them in the chat here on the Discord if you want to see that. And
like, for an example, there's an optional slalom, and that section of the course is called talent versus effort.
Yep.
I love that.
And
that's so good.
Talent is the easy entry that becomes really hard on the exit, and effort is the entry that's really difficult but gets really easy at the exit.
Yep, it's gonna be great.
Meta. I'm so much more excited to watch people drive the course and like get feedback on that than I am to drive myself, which is weird. I've never been in that position before, but I also set some goals for myself to first of all make a runway. It's at an airport in Seneca, New York, basically.
Yeah, Finger Lakes. Yep.
And it's on a runway, which tends to be like you go all the way out wiggling and then you come all the way back wiggling, right? Because it's long and narrow. I tried to go out of my way to make one day feel like a runway course and one day not.
Okay.
But I'm not going to say which is which because if I failed, then it is just going to both feel like a runway course. But I also made more changes than our standard from day 1 to day 2 because I wanted to challenge people to like pay attention.
Like drive 2 different courses. I actually don't like how similar the courses are, like backwards or whatever.
Right.
I kind of wish it was like a whole new course on day 2. Like, I wish that was the norm, to be honest.
And the only reason it's not is because they give you like less than an hour to flip it all.
Oh, okay.
So I have a spreadsheet of what all the cones that need to be moved are for my course setup people to like help me flip it over quick.
Yeah.
But I did make some more change. Anyway, I set some goals to like make it not like obnoxious or different necessarily, but just like a couple things to make it mine. Okay. So I'm that's why I'm so excited about it.
I'm excited to drive Tom O'Gorman course. I don't think I've ever driven a Tom course before. Not even at like a local or...
Yeah, maybe. I mean, at ASM, sort of.
I guess that rally cross course where we jumped into the oval. That's still some of the most fun I've ever had in a car. Seriously, that was so good.
It was so fun.
Oh my goodness, we got to do that again.
Okay, so yeah, I'm driving with Ken. You're driving with not Peter. You're driving Peter's car.
I'm driving Peter's car. Actually, I'm driving with Alex Peel. Okay. Operation Beat Daddy-O is in full effect. We're literally like nerding out.
I almost named an element like Beat Daddy-O or something about Daddy-O. Just I couldn't make it not like suck it Daddy-O, so I left it out.
Just D Street stands for Daddy-O stomps.
Oh, that'll be cool. I can't wait. Do you have any goals for the weekend? Just beat Daddy-O?
No, it's I hope driving with Alex, like me and him come together and like have some kind of understanding that maybe enlightens me a little bit. Cause I think Alex does a better job analyzing the course. And I think I probably do a better job optimizing the car. So like together, I think between like having conversations with him on the course and my ideas of like how to keep the car optimized, like I think we could like help each other. Like we're hopefully the yin and the yang, and together we like turn into like the Power Rangers or whatever, or Captain Planet.
And then suddenly you guys are as tall as everyone else.
Yeah, we're as tall as everyone else, and we're top packs at nationals. Like that's hopefully what happens. But yeah, I'm excited to drive with Alex. I think we're like the only co-driven car at this point, because if you look, there's 20 people in D Street, and I was like, if it's raining, like who's gonna have an advantage? And I look like down the list, and I'm like, nobody's co-driving. It's 20 D Street cars. It's like
that's cool.
Yeah, the whole grid's gonna just be like just twins and Type R's and stuff.
Very cool.
So yeah, it should be a good time. Christine's coming out, so that'll be fun. We're gonna sleep in a tent Saturday into Sunday, but the rest of the time I'll be staying in an Airbnb.
So next week we're gonna find out if tent camping is either the solution or the problem.
I think the majority of times I've been to Finger Lakes, I stayed in a tent because every place to stay out there is really expensive.
That's true.
And there's something about like that Seneca, like Finger Lakes area. The weather's always like beautiful.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, so like, I think it gets to like,
and a lot of people camp. So the site's pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's honestly, it's probably one of my more favorite national events, that happens every year. But it's always like mid 60s at night or whatever. So it's like pretty comfortable tent camping weather. Yeah. So should be a good time.
Cool. And we're carpooling.
Oh yeah, we're carpooling because
we're gonna have literally nothing to talk about next week. We're gonna be tired of each other.
Maybe we'll have a guest.
Yeah.
we'll have to talk to somebody else. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing. If you're at the event, I know we have a lot of like Seneca, Finger Lakes.
Come get a sticker.
Do you have stickers? I ran out.
I have stickers.
Okay. How many more stickers?
Probably less than 50 though, so don't dilly dally.
Okay. Also, if you're a subscriber, I'll bring the little plastic lizards that we're doing a terrible job of sending out.
Yet.
So far.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna sign out, and Tom's gonna nail the outro this time because he's hitting the button.
Well, I can actually hear the music too. But PJ, thanks for letting me come over for the sleepover. Can't wait to hang out this weekend. And in general, I love your hair, and I hope you win.